Now, how big of a role does alcohol play in gender-based violence? Well, this was the key question that was unpacked at the Tavern GBV Dialogue in Khayelitsha today. It's spearheaded by the National Liquor Traders Association. So tavern owners, the alcohol industry, NGOs and Police Minister Khayelitsha discussed the role of men in ending violence against women. Monique Mortlock attended the discussions and has provided us, will be providing us with an update. Monique, what were some of the biggest components that came out of these discussions today? Obviously, these are conversations that are long overdue because GBV has plagued South Africa for a number of years now.
Now, the National Liquor Traders, they have been having these discussions or these dialogues across the country, but today was the first time that they invited Police Minister Khayelitsha to join them, along with other top brass in the SAPS, including the Provincial Police Commissioner Tembisile Patekile. And today's discussion was not only for the liquor industry to hear from community members, from patrons who frequent taverns or shebeens, but to also hear or have the police giving their response to some of the questions or the queries that some of these patrons may have. Police Minister Khayelitsha was telling people that alcohol does play a big role in people's behaviors, especially the behavior of men. He was also saying that this dialogue, he noted that there were more women than men in attendance. And he was saying that because men are largely the problem when it comes to GBV and femicide cases in South Africa, that they are the ones that these dialogues should be aimed at and not necessarily the women. Khayelitsha also mentioned the fact that better education is needed when it comes to the use of alcohol. Let's just take a listen to some of the remarks he made.
That cannot be allowed, and that should not be allowed, and that should not happen. Abantu besifazane are human beings. Therefore, they've got full rights yokuba ama-humans. You see this thing, daughter, to think that people of women are there to be protected, but maybe that's a wrong concept. It's not your duty, men, to protect the women, because once you think you need to protect her, you regard her as your pet. You regard her as your cat, as your dog, as one of your pets. Your women are not your pets, men. They are fully fledged human beings that they need their space to fly high and be given the opportunity to grow and allow them to fly high. Most of the time they fly higher than men.
So we've heard the responses from the Minister and also police and the Liquor Board as well, Monique. But was there an opportunity for those in attendance to engage those stakeholders today?
Yes, definitely. We heard from community members. There was one man who actually stood up and said, yes, it's fine to speak about creating safe spaces for women in taverns or in shebeens, but what about the LGBTQI community? They are also subjected to abuse, to violence, especially in your townships. And this gentleman was then informed that this is also something that the National Liquor Traders are taking seriously as well, and it's something that they will continue speaking about in these dialogues. It's also something that the SAPS is aware of, that is quite a prevalent problem in townships where abuse often gets turned towards members of the LGBTQI community. There were some women in the audience, some patrons who were saying it's easy to blame alcohol, but what we should be addressing are the behaviors of men, are the behaviors of people, because as one woman said, it's not everyone who drinks becomes violent. So we need to address what makes an individual violent, and then for them to go and basically blame it on alcohol, blame it on the fact that they were drunk, that it should no longer be acceptable. The police minister, he was also calling on police officers to start prioritizing women who come in and open a case of abuse. Even if they don't have all the facts, they should be taken seriously, and no officer should be turning away any victim. And Khayelitsha was saying that too often they have seen women being turned away from police stations or not being taken seriously. And even if they return a second time, chances are they won't be alive to return the third time because of officers not doing their jobs properly. So these are just some of the conversations that were had today. Not much solutions or resolutions that came from today, but one thing the National Liquor Traders said is that they asked everyone to write or to sign a pledge, everyone who attended today, a pledge basically saying, not in our name. We pledge to stand up against those who abuse, and we pledge to take a firm stance against gender-based violence.
Monique Mortlock, thank you very much for those insights, unpacking the dialogue that was had today around gender-based violence in a tavern, and really the behaviour of men was the focus. But it's also understanding, like Monique said, it's not just the alcohol that fuels the violence, it's how men are. And I suppose you're supposed to be teaching them from a very young age how to be treating not just women, but society at large.